Welcome to Pine Thicket Philosophies, the non-podcast podcast where we do everything the podcast experts tell you not to do. If you are looking for a finely polished and professional podcast group, well, folks, we ain't it. But if you want to virtually join a group of old outdoorsmen from southern Appalachia, as we sit around the fire and talk about any one of our favorite topics, we'll pour a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and enjoy. All right, welcome back from the break. We are going to continue on talking a little bit more about the history of the group, some of the trips we've taken, and some of the things like that. But for that, for the early days, we're going to turn it over to the president, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. J.R. Poe.
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of trips, and I have no idea how many that I've taken with, this group and other groups, and not all of them have been an overwhelming success. But even bad trips make good stories. And some of the trips have been very expensive, but in the long run, not too bad. I know the first canoeing trip I went on was in a borrowed canoe, and we took there was three of us, and we took these. The first time I'd ever stepped into a canoe was when we was embarking on a 3-day trip, and I didn't know nothing about how to maneuver a canoe, but we managed. And we camped in hammocks the first time we went. And they were not your usual hammock. They were the Kmart woven nylon hammocks. And so after you laid in it a while, your backside looked like a Belgian waffle. And so it was not a very comfortable thing. And we eventually progressed into tents. And then we went all the way back again to hammocks again. But we've had some pretty bad trips. Like I said, this will have to be one all by itself when my van wound up underwater. That was
epic trip.
It was not a good trip as far as finances is concerned, because that thing had to be hauled out with a wrecker. It was too much, and so that was the end of that one. But we've had some interesting ones. We've had some flooded trips. We've had some trips where nothing went right. We had a trip one time where somebody stole all our ratchet straps and everything off of our trailer, and we had to improvise tying all our canoes back on the trailer when we got back.
I forgot about that.
There's been some serious ones, along the way, and there's been some, where I remember one hiking trip where we had to bail.
Yes.
And it was up to Santa Claus, me, to hike out. I was the only one able to hike out because everybody else either had foot problems or neck problems or whatever, and so I had to do a 30-something mile trip to get the truck. But it turned out okay.
But now that I'm thinking about this, have we ever had a trip to go completely as planned?
Now that you mention it, this may be it. This may be the one.
We ain't out of it yet, boy.
No.
Yeah, there's a long ways to go before we leave tomorrow. But yeah, we've had some serious stuff happen. We was headed to South Alabama to do a trip, and Brad's brand new water pump blew up.
literally exploded.
It did. It
In the middle of
exploded
nowhere on the interstate.
on the interstate, so far from any exit. It was like it
17
was
miles. 17 miles to the nearest exit.
And we were there on the side of the road. We got our chairs out.
Mm-hmm.
We sat on the side of the freeway. We enjoyed the day.
We took about a 3-hour nap.
And pictures can be installed here.
Yes, I have plenty of pictures.
But
Yes.
just because the road is rocky doesn't mean, your spirit should be rocky too. So
The funniest thing about that was we were going through Montgomery earlier in the morning, and a strap had come loose on the trailer and got under the wheel. And if you've never had that experience, it'll wake you up before daylight.
oh yeah.
It's a loud jolting
Boom.
boom. But then we're driving along, and I heard something. And now you got to think, we're running in a 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive. Ooh, gracious.
Oh my goodness, the wind.
3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, 454 with 35-inch mud tires on it. They were singing. The air conditioner didn't work, so we had the windows down, and we're riding along, and I hear a boom, and I was like, "Did y'all hear that?" And Larry pipes up and goes, "All I hear is these tires."
And then we smelled antifreeze.
Well, it started bogging down, and then we smelled antifreeze.
I feel that.
Yeah, and when it started bogging down, it was like, oh, Josh goes, I felt that. So I just kicked it up in neutral, rolled it to the side of the road, and we spent 3.5 hours there, waiting on Lyndon, who was coming from South Georgia to meet us at the campground.
I think we had one person stop.
One
In
person.
3.5 hours, we had one person stop.
Probably about 10 minutes. 10 minutes before Glendon got
come
there.
around the corner like,
Oh, wow.
anybody y'all got firearms?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he did. He actually asked us if we had firearms, didn't he?
Yeah, he's like, hey, I just want to check on y'all. Just make sure y'all got firearms over there. We like, yeah.
We might have.
Yeah. But at least he stopped to check on us. Nobody else did.
Yeah, and it was like, what, about 2 hours and 45 minutes into the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it got quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I don't want to jump ahead, but do y'all remember the first swamp trip that I went on? I don't know if it's the first one you guys
That's the first one I went on.
It's the first one I went on.
Yeah, so do y'all remember us trying to help those?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Y'all want to go into that a little bit?
Holy cow.
We're going to help load some canoes for some folks.
Okay, now this group.
Are we going to go all the way back to the first day when we saw them the first day?
Oh, and they went the other way?
They went the other way. Yeah.
It's kind of a sore spot, isn't
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is a little sore.
But that's okay. I think we can share that here because enough time has passed that I'm not the least bit bitter.
At
Not
all.
the
it?
least.
No, not at all.
Bitterness here.
Bunch of rednecks.
So we get there the first day, and we didn't have permits to camp in the swamp the first night, but you can float in, you can do a paddling. So we got there and was going to go in, just do some paddling. Now you got to think, we had left northeast Alabama at 10 o'clock that night.
Yes.
We had driven all night. Wait, let me back up. I had driven all night while most of them slept.
Whatever.
Didn't I drive for a little while?
But you won't let
I don't think you
nobody
did the
else
first.
drive.
I don't think you did the first trip. The second trip you
y'all
did.
once
Okay.
with a snort.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Larry did scare us with his snore once. We was afraid a bear had got in the truck with us at the last rest stop. But anyway, so we get there. I had been driving all night, was wore out. We put our boats in, and we're just doing a little day float going in. And as we are just about to take off, a large group comes in, and these people were all dressed very,
Columbia.
I don't want to say
North
Columbia.
Face.
I will say they were top of the line
LL
adventure equipment. Top of the line, you know, you could tell they weren't necessarily used to seeing Sand Mountain rednecks. Is that a good way to put it?
That'd be good, yeah.
Well, it might have been his
Overalls?
Oh, he could have been wearing overalls.
I'll insert a picture, a group picture right here of what we look like. But we go, and they come up and they're asking us which way we're going. Well, we told them, and they's like, okay, well, we'll go the other way. So, you know, we go on, we go the other way. No, this was not the first day.
No, this was the second.
This was the second day after we had spent the night at the St. Mary's Fish Camp.
The first days where that one guy made you mad because we was there getting our stuff in the boat, putting it in, and he's like, he came up and was like, can you move?
Yeah, we were still unloading.
That's when we was leaving. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was when we were leaving.
It was when we was leaving, when he was wanting you to move.
Yeah, he was like, you're in my way. Oh.
Get back to the river.
Let's go back.
Okay.
Stay focused.
Stay focused. Focus. Okay. So we go Red Trail, I believe it was, out to Bluff Lake.
Bluff Lake.
We've never seen a bluff out there, but it was Bluff Lake Shelter.
Yeah.
They go Green Trail in the opposite direction, which, you know, is
Towards
fine.
Mollahassett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, no big deal. We go out, we camp, we have a great night in the swamp. We have a great trip. We paddle back.
We could hear them, what, 20 or 30 minutes before we reached them?
Over a mile away. Go ahead.
Well, on our way back to the put-in, we could start hearing people talking, carrying on. Well, it was the same group out for their second day. And, man, I'm talking about loud. And they had made a comment the day before that let's not go follow them because they're just going to be out there and be loud and drunk. We ain't going to enjoy ourselves. Well, anyway, that didn't happen for us, but they were making more noise than us. Well, as we passed them on the way back to the takeout, I guess they decided it wasn't worth going any further because we probably scared all the wildlife off. So they promptly follow us back to the takeout. And then expect us to get out of their way.
When we got back to the takeout, we were getting all of our stuff loaded up, and the one of the gentlemen that was with the other group, and he had come over and talked to us several times. You know, he was just in that group, and he was like, man, I'd much rather be going with you guys than with this, you know. He was still...
What the heck?
I think I just had a pole blow over,
yeah,
but
I think
it'll be all right. Anyway, he was talking to us and everything about how he'd rather go with us and all that stuff. I think I just had another one go down.
It'll be all right.
Yeah. I can't really see what's going on over there. But anyway, we had a big gust of wind. Sorry, we're chasing squirrels because we got stuff flying away in the wind. He comes up on the second morning and he was telling us that he's like, man, they were really dogging you guys pretty bad. And I was like, about what? He said, talking about how they just we didn't need to go the same way you guys were going because you were just a bunch of Alabama rednecks and y'all were just going to be drinking and, you know, doing all kinds of stuff and scaring away all the wildlife. And I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, I was a little aggravated about that. So then we're getting our stuff loaded up. They come in, they start trying to load stuff up. And there was, what would y'all say? There was one gentleman that was probably in his late 60s.
At least.
Yeah.
And then there was 3 women. And I'm not putting down, you know, the women or the 3 men, but they had a huge trailer. I'm talking 10 foot tall.
Oh, at least 10 foot tall.
And they had that one elderly gentleman and the 3 women were having to load the boats on this trailer for all of them.
Now, we say the age of these and the women because there was some guys that's probably in their 30s,
20s and 30s,
maybe
several of them,
even in the 40s, early 40s.
That was just standing there watching them.
Wouldn't lift a finger to help them.
Just standing there watching them. So we didn't really want to, but we felt it was our
redneck civic duty.
We're Southern gentlemen.
yeah, Southern gentlemen. So we go over and start loading.
Yeah, we'll help you.
Yeah, we go over and start loading their boats for them. At which time, I'm over there loading these other people's boats. We're still got our stuff. We haven't loaded our own stuff yet. We're loading these other people's stuff first. And one of the group came over, and he was driving his own truck, and comes over and looks at me and goes, "I need you to move your truck. You're in my way." And that was kind of one of those deals where I was like, okay, I either need to leave or I'm going to say or do something I don't need to say or do. So we quit helping them, loaded our own stuff up and left.
Well, didn't they call us a bunch of rednecks and say, we don't need your help in the end?
Well, some of the ones that wasn't doing nothing might have, but
I thought I heard that.
the ones that we was actually helping, they appreciated it.
Yeah.
Wow, that wind has
Yeah, it was kind of a thing. After all that had transpired, I got to thinking about our little group of 7 and how many college degrees we held between us.
That would be 7 bachelor degrees.
And our occupations, you know, and how many were, you know, town councilmen, deacons, etc. It's like, how in the world? You know, you can't judge a book by its cover. Just because I was just an old man there dressed in overalls doesn't mean that that's the way I dress 24/7. So, but yeah, they kind of offended us, and I, of course, you know, I know that somebody from South Georgia don't have no room to call anybody a redneck, but anyway.
Yeah, that's another story.
That's another story, yeah, altogether.
Yeah, that was a interesting first introduction, if you will, to the swamp.
Yeah.
That was interesting. So yeah, swamp was great. The interaction with those folks were
That was kind of a bummer.
subpar a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we got over it. Being from where we are, we did what we do, and
it didn't stop us from going back. That's for sure.
No, it did not at all. We still enjoyed it. We have fun with that interaction, and I really wish we could take a break right now so we can reset. But
yeah.
I don't know how to pause the video.
Hey, camera guy.
Yeah, the camera guy's got his own thing.
Yeah.
We can always count on Brad to be the technical dude.
Yeah, he can edit some of this out if need be.
Because everybody has their job. My job forever has been cooking.
Chef?
Yeah, that's what I do. Camp cooking, I love it. That's my thing. Brad, he has got to make sure that everything has been captured on cameras. He will have more cameras than a Japanese tourist. He has even got one.
Can you say that on a podcast?
Yes, I just did.
Okay. Just checking.
He's even got a camera at the bottom of the Okefenokee Swamp.
From that same trip we were talking about.
From that same trip.
That was on the first trip.
The very first, first day on the first trip.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's not unusual for him to have, you know, a GoPro sitting everywhere. And you got to be careful what you say when you're in camp, because more than likely
it's getting recorded.
It's getting recorded.
That's great, Brad.
All right. Sorry about that. I had to go restrap some stuff that the wind was pulling away. So we ran a little over on this segment, but we're going to take a quick little break. So
we'll see y'all in a little while.
We'll be back in a minute. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in for this episode of Pine Thicket Philosophies. Tune in next time as we continue to live by our motto, even bad adventures make great stories.